That's ratting for you. Well, joining me here in the studio is Laura Higgins from ChildNet International, and also Rachel Hindman, a victim of ratting, joins me, appropriately enough, via webcam from Stirling in Scotland. And the BBC's 5 Live reporter, Andy Silke, who led a special investigation into ratting, joins me from our Manchester newsroom. Rachel, can I start with you? You're a victim. What actually happened to you?
Well, my webcam turned on unexpectedly when I was watching a film, actually in the bath, which was quite horrifying. I had my laptop set up because I planned to be in there for almost an hour, and it turned on, and I'd never used it, like not for at least 6 months, and then it started to behave strangely. When I tried to turn it off, it wouldn't let me access drivers, it wouldn't let me access parts of my laptop, and I didn't regain access to like cut the internet connection, and then I could get back to it.
Right, so a pretty compromising situation, and I guess a rather terrifying moment. What sort of effect has it had on you, and indeed on the way you use your computer now?
Well, I've tried to forget it as much as possible. While it was a kind of horrifying experience, it did make me very cautious around my laptops afterwards. I knew that what I'd been doing online was perfectly safe. I'm very good with computers. I knew that I hadn't been visiting sites I shouldn't have been. I pretty much suspected it came through Facebook, actually, so mostly I upped my game with antivirus, bought a new kind of computer and just tried to forget it. I now make a point of covering any webcams that I have with business cards when they're not in use, just in case, but because it's so hard to trace or track, you can't really dwell on it.
Yeah, just essentially you're trying to take the sort of measures that stop it happening again, it sounds. Andy, can you give us some idea as to the scope of this? I mean, it's not brand new, is it, ratting? But how fast is it growing now, then?
Well, ratting is something that's been around for many years. The remote access Trojan, which is basically spread as a computer virus, is something you might have seen at work when someone at computer support takes control of your machine to fix a problem. But it does seem to have been appropriated by computer hackers. We spent a month undercover online speaking to hackers using an assumed name, and found that there is a large community, a global community, people all around the world, who are pulling off these hacks, spreading their infection.
And why, sorry to interrupt, Randy, why are they doing it? What are they out to get from it?
Well, there seem to be quite a few reasons you might do it, some relatively benign, some more malevolent. So we spoke to one British schoolboy who did it mainly to impress or shock his friends. So he was able to display photographs of shock websites on their computer and then see their reaction. He was also demonstrating his prowess with computers to his peers. But there were much more malevolent reasons as well. There were cases, for example, where we found whole pages of photographs being shared of people taken without their knowledge, photographs of apparently ugly victims, according to those that have hacked them, photographs of female victims as well. And one Finnish hacker that we spoke to was actually able to sell access to compromised computers to others within the community. He sold 100 male, or approximately 100 male computer users who had been hacked for a single US dollar, but when it came to women, there was a premium paid, and it could be between $1 and $5 for access to a woman's computer.
Okay, Andy, thanks. Laura Higgins, it's hard to imagine any reason is that benign. They all feel a bit malevolent. Whether how far they're illegal or not is almost beside the point, though, because it seems almost impossible to catch these people.
Well, I mean, obviously, these are all in police investigations. What they are doing is clearly criminal, whether it's taken as a hacking incident or whether they are doing it for, you know, to get monies by menace or to share the photographs. You know, we at the UK Safer Internet Centre work in close partnership with the Internet Watch Foundation, who carried out research last year, which obviously showed a huge number of harvested photographs, which then ended up on adult sites, and a lot of those we assume may have come without the victims knowing.
Right, and they even describe these victims as slaves, don't they, which sort of says its own story about it. But for all that, and you can trumpet it and point it out, what can you do to stop it?
I mean, the advice on the Webwise film is really accurate, actually.
Just simple practical measures rather than anything harder than that. It
starts with just be aware. If you notice changes on your computer, if it suddenly starts doing strange things, have a look at it, don't ignore it. Use your firewalls, your antivirus, regularly check it. And yeah, when you're not using your computer, make sure that your webcam is turned off.
Rachel, do you think you were just, you know, one of the unlucky ones who randomly got picked out, or is it something that you still talk about with your peers and your friends, and do any of them have similar tales to tell?
Not really. Like, after it happened, I didn't really mention it. I talked about it at the time to make sure everyone knew what was going on, but then I just sort of left it alone. I was contacted by the BBC in the summer and by Post Secret shortly before that, when people were discussing it online. It's not really something I'm very comfortable discussing with people that I don't know very well, or I wasn't supposed to talk about. I feel it's important that it's mentioned so people are aware of it. As Mary said, like, you need to know that it's there and know to watch for it, but it's something that made me very uncomfortable and upset at the time, and still does. I don't really like to dwell on it.
Andy, finally, it does feel as if it's something that is only probably likely to grow, given how difficult it is to police this.
Yes, I mean, the British Association of Chief Police Officers has given us a statement in which they say that they are aware of it, it does happen, and they've seen examples of it. It's important to point out that this is not something that is extremely common, although, as I say, it is a global phenomenon. People all around the world have been affected, and of course many people won't even know that they have been affected because that is the very nature of hacking into somebody's computer.
Andy, Silke, thanks very much indeed. Also Rachel Handyman for joining us, and Hindman, and Laura Higgins. Thank you, all three of you.